This is problem number 5 on the practice problems request number 2. Are the lines 2x plus 4y equals 8 and y equals negative 1/2 x minus 5 parallel, perpendicular, or neither? So parallel and perpendicular tell me right away I need to think about the slope. So this line, the equation is actually in a good form where I can just identify what the slope is right away. I know one of my equations for a line is y equals mx plus b. So the slope is the m. That's the number touching the x, which in this case is negative 1/2. So the slope of that line is definitely negative 1/2. But the other line, it's not as easy to tell what the slope is because it's not in the right form. So first step is to get this first line to look like the mx plus b form. Said another way, I want to solve for y. So I'll subtract 2x from both sides. And then I'll divide both sides by 4. All right, I've accomplished my goal. I wanted to solve for y, and I have, but it still doesn't look like mx plus b. Y equals is good, but I need it to really be separated. I don't have any place in my green equation for this big fraction. So what we need to do is a little bit more work. First thing we're going to do is take that 4 and divide it into both things upstairs. This is something that folks maybe aren't so natural at doing. But if I just gave you this problem and I said, hey, can you combine these two fractions, what would you do? You'd say, all right, I've got the same denominator, both out of 4. So I get to just combine the terms upstairs, 8 minus 2x over 4. So that's the natural direction, is to combine two fractions into one. We're going in kind of an unnatural way. Take one fraction, split it back up into two fractions. And let's keep going with this. 8/4 is really 2 minus 2/4 is really a half. And so it looks like that, which is getting closer to that bottom green equation, the mx plus b. So next thing I'll do is just go ahead and take that x and kind of pull it off of my fraction. If you're not thrilled with that, want to really understand why it's okay to do that, we'll go ahead and put that x over 1. And then if I ask you to multiply those two guys back together, you just multiply straight across, 1 times x, 2 times 1, and you get right there. So it's okay to peel that x off. And then finally, again, trying to get it look like the green, we'll go ahead and swap these two terms. So I'll put my negative 1/2 x first. That 2 is positive, so we've got to invent a plus sign to put in there. So finally, after all that work, I get this equation is now in the mx plus b form. It's equivalent to what I started with, but now it's something useful to me. So what's the slope of that bottom green equation now? Slope is negative 1/2, which is exactly what I was after. So now I've got two slopes, that line there in blue, this other line up here in blue. And what's the relationship between their slopes? They're the same. And when two lines have the same slope, they are parallel. So we'll just write that. The slope of both lines is negative 1/2. So the lines are parallel.